To answer all of your customer success questions, please welcome CEO of Gainsight, Nick Mehta, to the stage.
Okay, so I think this is an AMA, so we got nothing prepared except your questions. Who wants to start? Okay, what did you think this was? You had to come. Okay, great question. Get it from the front. Let's hear it.
So in the previous session, all of you agreed. Hi. In the previous session, all of you agreed that transitions are important, and that's something that you need to focus to create that unified customer experience, right? Wanted to hear a bit more on the goods and the bads of how you make the transitions happen. And I had a second question as well, if you have time, and that was on just customer success is not just CSMs, right? So there's a ton of other functions as well, which are more time-bound, so you're implementing or you're just supporting. How do you align those with the larger customer experience so that they don't feel like they're just time-bound, but contributing to the overall experience?
Awesome questions. All right, who wants to start?
I'll start. I think it starts at the sales level. So it has to be part of the contract, part of the conversation, so that there are no surprises, so that you know what you're getting into as a customer. And then the onboarding experience has its own set of transitions, knowing what the kickoff includes, and then having a check-in, an executive check-in, that you bring back that sponsor or the champion of the project to make sure that their goals were met. If they're not met, you're not really live with the product. I think that's a really important transition. And then having regular check-ins, your quarterly business reviews, your playbooks, everyone talks about them. If there isn't a purpose for them or action items coming out of them, it's a waste of time. And I would say that those transition meetings shouldn't be several hours unless it's in person, because you'll lose your audience, or you might not even get the champion on the phone. I think that's important.
I'll do two things on transitions. I guess I'm allowed to answer on these now that I'm not the moderator anymore. So on transition, obviously there's lots of basic stuff like knowledge transfer, things like that. And transition, by the way, happens in a successful company with successful people. Like, for example, people get promoted, they take on new jobs, they have a baby, they take some time off, and we've had all those things at Gainsight. There's a few things I think are interesting. Number one is tracking how many times somebody's been transitioned. So that's sort of like when you call a call center and somebody says, I'm going to transfer you, and then each person doesn't know how many times you've been transferred. So how many times has somebody been transitioned in a given period? Number two is this idea that somebody else gave an analogy to me, so I'm kind of stealing it, which was, you know, if the current leader, the person on that account, the CSM, is the driver of a car, ideally the new person just doesn't come in, the old person gets out. Ideally, the new person comes in, maybe is the passenger in the car, sits on a few calls for like a few weeks. If you can plan in advance so that they're getting to know that customer and it's not just like a one-call transition, but maybe there's like a month where you have two people involved, not one.